start the
Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste to all. Welcome and thank you for taking out time for this session, where I'll be walking you through ABDM ecosystem, its vision, what are its guiding principles, and how you can be a part of this ecosystem, and further how you can help and provide better healthcare opportunities to your patients. So in the later part of the session, I'll be quickly walking you through the process of ABDM integration and its journey. Basically, I'm going to head this session for M1 functionality and API. And also the second part will also look into M3 APIs also, since like we want to give a brief idea about M3 API also. So before I proceed ahead, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Shabnam, and I have my colleague with me, Mr. Sachin Yadav, and we also have our team lead, Meenakshi Jha, who is leading ABDM integration for private entities, and yeah, that's all. So also before I begin, I humbly request you to keep yourself on mute. You may unmute yourself or use hand raise feature whenever required. So this session will be recorded, and session recording you'll find in Sandbox website under resources webinar section. Okay, I'll start with the overview of Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So ABDM is a flagship program which is launched to create a digital ecosystem for our country's healthcare sector. Vision was to create an ecosystem that would support universal health coverage in an efficient, accessible, inclusive, affordable, timely, and safely manner. So this will be achieved by provisioning of wide range of data information and infra services, leveraging open and interoperable and standard-based platform, ensuring security, confidentiality, and privacy of health data. So our agenda for today is we'll overview the vision, guiding principles, technology stack. Next, we'll go for introducing terminologies, registries, ABDM facts and needs.
Excuse me, Shabnam, could you just do this in presentation mode?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll also move ahead with registries, ABDM facts and myths, what role you will play in ABDM ecosystem, ABDM sandbox integration process, ABDM integrated milestone, that is M1 overview, and we'll take Q&A session after that. So coming to the vision, okay, ABDM acts as an inclusive network for the citizens, healthcare providers, basically all the stakeholders to have seamless access to the healthcare digital services. So keeping in mind the vision, there are some guiding principles also which need to be followed. So ABDM is based on federated architecture, that is data resides at the source where it is currently residing, and that is the hospital, the clinics, or the doctors. So this data at source may be accessed by the open APIs, making interoperable, and where the registries that are the HFR and HPR, which we would discuss later on, that would act as a single source of truth. So also this is supported by the technology ensuring inclusivity and privacy by design, and basically aiming at improving the overall continuum of healthcare services for all the citizens of our country. So why ABDM is there and what ABDM intends to solve? So for the citizens, the citizens can avail the medical resources, the medical like discovery of health services and the products, They can book the health services online or the health products online, avail teleconsultation, video consultations, and other health-related products and services. For healthcare providers, what they can help. So, they can obviously provide healthcare services. So, by this, the healthcare providers they can access and view the patient's health record. Of course, the longitudinal and vertical health records, provide digital health and consultation to the patients, and provide the primary healthcare services. So, for the policymakers, they can view and analyze the public health records at the national level and implement policies effectively at local level also. Next, I'll go to the ABDM framework, the core principles. It has open standard-based architecture. So as I've already mentioned that, it has open-based API, and it uses some open standards such as FHIR. So when there is data sharing, when you share the data, like the data is shared in the HIP and the HIU, so you have to maintain specific standards, that is FHIR standards. The data cannot be shared, in a normal, PDF format or something. You have to adhere to the FHIR bundles. So there are 7 FHIR bundles, which I'll not get in depth about it. You can go and read in the nrcssite.com about the details. Although I'll just mention the bundles of FHIR. Those are diagnostic record, discharge record, health record, immunization record, OP consultancy record, the prescription record, and the wellness record. So it depends upon the integrator who want to implement what kind of record bundles and the software for data sharing. So the next comes the scalable and interoperable. So microservice-based scalability, both horizontal and vertically, data can be shared, as I have already mentioned. And the interoperability is between disparate solution, whether it's HMIS, LMIS, or any other solutions. Federated and secure, yes, which I have already discussed. Data stays where the data is created. And ABDM do not store any data. Data is always stored in the HRP, that is health repositories. And it is, of course, consent-based mechanism is there. Without consent of the patient, the data cannot be, shared to any other facility. So again, there's security and confidentiality of the patient data. And it is inclusive of all citizens across geographies and digital literacy. Assisted mode of ABHA creation is also there, which we'll discuss later. And offline ABHA generation in limited areas. In areas of limited or no internet connectivity. So ABHA can be also generated where there is no internet connectivity or there is less internet connectivity. Now I'll cover some of the terminologies which will give you better understanding about, because these are some of the terms and terminologies which will come again and again, while you'll integrate with ABDM ecosystem. So first of all, it is ABHA number and ABHA address. So ABHA number, as you know, it is uniquely created number. It's a 14-digit number created uniquely generated from the system for each citizen, and patient gives the ABHA. HCP will recognize immediately who the person is, and since you have only one ABHA number for identification, so this what it does, it avoids the data redundancy, and your database is cleaner and consistent in this. So ABHA address is also created by the system. It's a default, which can be created default, or you can also create your ABHA address just as you create an email ID by your own choice. And the ABHA number can be linked to the ABHA address. All the health record, the data which you are going to make facility when generates the data, the patient record, they are not saved in ABHA number, but it is saved in the ABHA address. So ABHA address, you can create multiple ABHA address against one ABHA number. So next comes the health information provider. Health information providers are nothing but the hospitals are who are providing the health services. HRPs are the repositories who manages the HMIs and LMI system of any of the software, and they they save the data of patient records are saved in the HRP health repositories. Health information users are the users, the patients, the citizens are the health information users. Then comes the gateway is a hub that talks that arranges the interaction, that orchestrates the interactions by the CM, the API bridges, the HRPs, the HIPs, and ABDM ecosystem. So it also authenticates the connected system within the framework, including communication via asynchronous APIs over HTTPS, and changes the channels, making data system. So then comes the consent manager. Consent manager is something when it's all consent manager is all about when the patient provides a consent about sharing the data, and then this consent manager helps in pushing the data and to the notification to the gateway, and gateway will notify the HIP and the HIU both whether the patient has granted to share the data or denied to share the data. Then comes the registries. In registries there are HPR and HFR. So HPR other like health professional registry is a comprehensive repository for all the verified health professionals involved in delivery of the healthcare services across both modern and traditional system of medicine. So generally, like HPID is created using Aadhaar. There is another process, and we have APIs for HPR and HFR, which need to be adhered for creation of HPR ID and HFR ID. And we have many upcoming webinar sessions specifically on these registries. You can go and attend the same, and also you can read about the detailed version of HPR and HFR in our Sandbox website. Now I'll give you the brief ABDM architecture and data flow. So I think till now you have understood a bit of the system, what is the terminologies, what is about. So I'll try to keep it very simple, illustration very simple. So given that now you are aware of the ABDM system. So all functionalities are exposed in ABDM are via like open-ended APIs, that is platform agnostic. So it does not matter where digital solution your hospital has, or if you have a single hospital or if you have a multiple hospital. So using multi-tenant architecture or having a centralized server, all is okay with ABDM. So ABDM is a, it has a federated architecture, that is our ABDM gateway does not talk to the hospital, instead it talks to the endpoint URL, which identifies the health repository. So this HRP, the health repositories, is the one that manages your HIMS and LIMS, etc. So if you see here, ABDM does not even know here, like any point of time, like even they that what kind of data, what it's handling. So like when the HIU seek a record of a patient, the HRP notifies the gateway over here, which then seeks consent from the patient, who gives the this consent for sharing the record, and this is all managed by the CM. So gateway in turn notifies the HRP for the consent, who then starts preparing for the data. So meanwhile, the data also notifies, meanwhile the gateway also notifies the HIU, which sends the data push URL. So this URL is shared with the HIP here, who sends the data. So data exchange happens directly between the HIP and the HIU. So once data sharing is acknowledged by the by the patient side is granted successfully, and then it is notified in the gateway, and the notification is sent in both the sides. So this is how the architecture, federated architecture, it works, and how the data flow between the HIP and the HIU works. So this is the ABDM technology stack, like the user applications. Yeah.
Hello, Shabnam, just a second. I think this meeting, there's some issue with the Zoom, so this meeting might get over in a minute. So we have pasted a meeting link on the chat. I request everyone to copy that meeting link just in case if this meeting gets disconnected, and so please join on the meeting link which we have given for Teams. Just a small announcement we wanted to make. Is I hope everybody is able to view it on the chat. Can you flash it on your screen, Shabnam? Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
We have received confirmation. You please proceed in case we get disconnected, Shabnam, Dr. Shabnam.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll start with the ABDM technology stack now. So user applications are here like hospital service provider application and user applications, PHR, this personal health record application, hospital management and laboratory management information system. They're payer and providers also, and that will comes under health claims exchange SCX. So we have gateways and protocols driving interoperability with open standards. We have unified health interface, that is UHI. So what are the services enabled under this? So there is telemedicine. Like the citizens or the customers can discover doctor book appointment, discover lab, blood bank, pharmacy, bed availability. This discovery can be done under unified health interface. There is a Health Information Exchange Consent Manager, that is HICM, where the health records can be shared with the consent of the patient. Health document collation is there by the collation of diagnostic reports, and prescription discharge summaries, which you have already spoken, with the different types of health records which need to be adhered to create under FHR format, and aggregated health data for privacy for policy and analytics also. There are Indian digital public goods, cross-domain and domain-specific building blocks. Under domain-specific building blocks, that is ABDR is ABDM Digital Health Registries, ABHA, HPR, HFR. And there are cross-domain digital public goods, that is ABHA for identity, UPI, pay for payments, e-sign, DigiLocker, and consent artifact. There is another stack which we have, that is Health Claim Exchange platform. This is related to health claims. So any integrator who is into insurance domain, or they can always after integration they can also integrate with HCX for e-claim standardization for health claims platform, policy markup language, and bill markup languages. So we have another team for this, and for HCX also, there are upcoming sessions you can join for the same. So this is the Abha card, which is standardized by ABDM platform, and there's some Abha status progress till date. Health ID renamed as Abha number now. So in the UI, whenever you are integrating, so a health ID should be renamed now. You cannot use health ID; it should be Abha number, which is the 14 digits unique number. So 37.16 plus crore Abha created as on date today. So Abha generation currently done by Aadhaar and assisted modes, that is driving license. Other modes also there, like passport and PAN card, which are not active currently. We are under the process of making them active. Development is in progress. So as I said, by passport and PAN. And development is in progress for child Abha also. Opt-in, opt-out, deactivate, and reactivate Abha features are also available. So the Abha app, so 1 M plus downloads till now. So it allows to maintain and view, share, store health records. Consent management, as already shared, empower a user with complete control of sharing his or her data at any time, at any place. So QR code empaneled profile and record sharing using Avha app for making all the interactions at the health facilities very seamless. Updated Android version released with a simple and intuitive UI design. iOS version will be released shortly. 5 PHR apps and 2 PHR web available being used in Abha ABDM ecosystem. So Abha app, Arogya Setu app, Briefcase, Eka Care, Paytm, and Practo app. And the PHR, ABDM PHR web and Raksha PHR web are also available. So these are the two registries which I have already explained, like a little bit about HFR and HPR. You can always go to our ABDM website, a Sandbox website for the same. The live data you can see in ABDM live dashboard, that how many ABHA is created by the integrator who are already live, how many linkages are made, and other data also, which are always updated on real time. Some of the ABDM myths and facts are there, which I'll discuss. So ABDM allows for collection of data from stakeholders. These are the myths. Digitalization is cumbersome and will require more time from doctor for data entry. There is no data entry required from the doctors. It is everything on real time, and it is digitalized. Requires a robust digital information infrastructure to be a part of this ecosystem. No, you do not need any digital infrastructure to be a part of the system. Anybody can come and integrate with ABDM. Tracks financial data. Business information of the doctors and facility. No, it does not track any kind of information, as data is not stored in our from ABHA ABDM side. So the facts provides security and privacy for the healthcare data, as I've already mentioned that there is security and privacy. The data is stored where data is stored, and voluntary registration process is there. But in order to access the benefits of ABDM, one would have to be registered. So allows for private parties to build tools and apps with different features on top of ABDM architectures. So what role you will play in the ABDM ecosystem? So partner in ABDM by registering on HFR. You have to register on HFR to onboard the facilities for linkages in M2. Using the ABDM enable HMIS software. So the ABDM enables SMS software, what they will do, they will enhance the efficiency and ease of administrative function. Track key patient health indicators and improve patient experience, provide timely and accurate information for the doctors and the services. Second, register on HPR and use ABDM in your daily practices. So the health professionals, they can register on the HPR and they can use log in and use ABDM in their daily practices. So what this will help to doctors, they can receive, create, and share digital records online digitally. So again here there is efficiency, there is ease of functioning for the even doctors. Follow-up and tracking is easy for the doctors and also for the patients here. So interaction digitally with the patient through telemedicine is also becomes easier for the on the citizen's perspective. Then it encourages the patient to create a ABHA number. Of course, benefits of ABHA card, as we all know, that it helps to access the longitudinal and vertical health records, and records can be kept in the in the locker, and it can be accessed at any time across the country between different health facilities, between different doctors, and it is safe and it's comfortable to use, and it is most important, free of cost. So now I'll cover the sandbox integration process. So firstly, you have to send a request to access the sandbox APIs. So you have to log in and create your IDs and send a request for that you want to integrate with ABDM. Get the access after the health tech committee approval for on your registration form. Once you get the approval, you will get credentials with your email that to access the API, and you can start testing on the sandbox sandbox testing site for integration of M1, M2, and M3 APIs. So once integration is completed, you can push your videos and your related things to our internal NHA panel. We'll review your M1, M2, and M3 videos, and we'll provide the feedback. And once everything is done, we always push for functional and VASA testing. So for functional testing and VASA testing, we have NHA have independent agencies for FT. You can find this in our sandboxabdm.gov.inside in the documentation section when you check the section D of sandbox integration exit page. So we'll share the link of the same so that you can go through the functional testing agencies. And also we have independent cert agencies for VASA, and you can also check the details over there mentioned in our ABDM website. So once FT in Vasa is done, we always initiate for the HTC final demo that is been done from NHA panel, and once HTC is approved by the panel, we release the production keys so that you can go live with the ABDM API, the APIs. So this is the overall, the process which you need to adhere to get integrated with ABDM ecosystem. So I'll quickly go through the integration steps of M1, M2, and M3. Although this is a webinar of M1 strictly, but I would also cover M2 and M3 a little bit, the process flow, just to give a vague idea about it. So M1, basically this Aadhaar creation, capture, and verification. What it will do, it will help in QR code based fast tracking registration at hospital. We have API for QR code registration, because for few hospital where there is long queue, where there is a lot of high tat for the patient for getting registered for the consultation. So this will reduce the time of the long standing queues of the hospital, and common identifier among the government benefit programs also. So M2 will cover the specifically the health information provider services to link patient health records with Aadhaar. So in M2 we have like three parts, like HIP initiated linking and discovery, HIU initiated linking and discovery, and how data is pushed between HIP and HIU, which I've already discussed that how previously, that how the data interacts between HIUH and HIP. So how M2 helps, so this helps in collation of health records in digital format in PHR apps and health lockers. So moving ahead in M3, what you do in M3. So M3 is basically all about consent. So health information user services to share patient health records between other entities in the ABDM ecosystem. So where the doctor, the HIP can raise a consent to see the patient record, that is the HIU, and how the HIU would receive the consent by the notification, how the HIU will grant the consent or deny the consent or revoke the consent, and how the notification again goes to the patient, to the HIP, and how the records are shared between HIP and HIU, the doctor and the patient. So how it helps? It helps, electronic health records are created for doctors and improve the diagnosis, analysis, and and also it helps in policy stats and to take policy decisions and implementation at the state level. So this is the flow of M1, how Aadhaar number is created and verification is done. So creation, it has two parts covered, like Aadhaar related and DL and other documents assisted. The DL is assisted version, and other documents like PAN and passport is we are undergoing. So for as of now, for creation we use Aadhaar card, and through Aadhaar we have three steps like OTP for authentication, OTP, biometric, and demographic auth. Demographic auth is strictly adhered by the government entities, and for private we can go for biometric, and also biometric also. It is for government entities, but also you can do it. OTP based is commonly used for auth process. For verification, also there is two types for OTP and biometrics. So for M2, M3, I have already discussed how the linkages and transfer is done. So next, I'll request Mr. Sachin Yadav to take the session for M3 and the APIs which he'll cover under M3. Yeah, Sachin, over to you. Please share the screen. I'll stop sharing.
I'm sorry, I'm just interrupting for 1 second, but for me, this is going too fast. I just wanted to bring it on the table. Thank you.
Okay, we have a quick Q&A session after this. You can just ask your question. You put your questions over there, whatever queries you have, and in case we cannot solve your queries over this webinar, you can always write into integration.support@nhA.gov.in.
Basically, I'll just quickly add here and close. I was only trying to highlight that the pace at which the download is going and the various terminologies, though we have been introduced to them, but we are fairly new. So the retention rate is pretty low. Conceptually, we are understanding everything, But the queries also, if you're parking them aside, there is a higher probability that they will just dry up. So the objective of the session might get repeated. That's all I wanted to highlight. Thank you.
Meenakshi ma'am, can we take Q&A session right now so that if someone is having some issues, we can resolve right now.
Yeah, we can
Then we
take
can
Q&A
resume.
session in. Yeah, we can take Q&A session now also, not a problem. And we are all, I think there are a lot of queries, questions that are coming up on the chat, which is being replied to promptly. So if there is anything that is there, you could have always, posted it on the chat. We will take it up. Yeah, you can go ahead with your questions, please. We will keep it for just for 15, another 10 minutes or 15 minutes Q&A, and then we would like to cover
So
the
I will,
API quickly.
yeah. So can I ask a question here or should I put it on chat?
Yes, go
No,
ahead.
you can ask.
Yeah, so I'm going back to one of the base fundamentals on the hospital registry. Okay, are we maintaining a hospital at branch level registry there, or are we just maintaining a hospital level registry there?
That totally depends on your own hospital. In the sense whether you have a centralized, how do you manage the data, your HRP, how they are managing the data, right? Whether they are keeping it centralized or whether they are maintaining it in branch, right? ABDM has nothing to do with it. If you are maintaining it with a branch, because you have to always register all the facility, whether it's a branch, suppose your hospital has 11 branches, so you will have to register all those 11 facilities in the health facility registry. And when you are the HRP endpoint, that if you have a common repository, in the sense if you have a central database, then there would be just one endpoint URL for all the branches, like we have for all the corporate hospitals they are doing. But there are some other hospitals, for every branch they have different endpoint URL, right? So then you will have to go for each facility will have to get their own client ID, because endpoint URL will always be one for a given client ID.
Okay, so while I get the client part of it, I'm completely on the hospital part still. So the way I understand is payer and the provider, they are two separate players, okay, or two separate client types, I would say. Now, if I'm looking at hospital, which is a provider in this case, the registry ideally, according to me, should be maintained by the provider themselves. Okay, because
Correct,
any new
correct,
branch which they're
correct,
opening up
correct,
or
correct.
they're closing down a branch. Yeah, so plus that takes care of mergers, takeovers, blacklisting, etc., etc. Okay, liquidation, etc. All those are something which have to happen at the hospital registry, and that has to be initiated by the provider themselves. Now I'll quickly come. I'm just kind of jumping through my queries, so because there's a constraint of time. The second part which I wanted to highlight was you have mentioned the M1 process which was showed to us, which is one was creation, the other was inquiry. Okay, so primarily, is it mandatory for us to access and execute inquiry on each case, or is it optional? That's the first question I wanted to ask.
Can you repeat that question?
The
Is it
inquiry,
mandatory?
yeah, is it mandatory to access the patient records across each case, or is it optional?
No, it is not mandatory, right? It is, and it
It's
totally
optional.
depends on the patient consent. If the patient does not give consent, you can never access.
Okay. So the patient consent is
Are
coming
you
through the
a payer,
OTP.
Pushpraj? Are you a payer?
Yeah, yeah, we are a payer.
So,
That's
okay,
why we are asking you.
let me give you a little brief before you go ahead with your next question. What happens is, a payer, they will be like, they are not the provider, so they will never be going to generate the records. They will never be going to link the health records per se, right? So you will never be, as such, you will never be doing any kind of functionalities which an HRP does, right? You and your entity, or your entity will always act only as a health information user, which Dr. Shabnam explained quite in detail. That you will just be seeking the health records from various health facilities. It does not matter whether it's a branch of a particular hospital or it's a separate hospital. Facility is a individual facility, right? Whether it is it irrespective of the fact that it belongs to Apollo or Medanta or a single a single owned clinic by some doctor, it does not matter at all. So when you seek information, you will seek you will have been when you seek information, you will have no idea which facilities are, where the health records and on which facilities the health record of that patient is residing. All you will know is the that particular patient's ABA address, right? Which is what Dr. Shabnam had explained in the slide also. So when the health as a payer, when you request to seek the health records from any provider, so what you do is you just know the ABA address, and you just send a consent to the patient that, hey, I want to view all your health records in past 1 year. So what happens is, that is when the gateway, it maintains only the linking part. It maintains that which the ABA address, what are the linking for this particular ABA address, and from gateway, it communicates and sends the information to HIP that, look, this kind of payer is looking to is seeking their records for this particular ABA address, and this is the consent of the patient. Already consent has already been shared. So then you send a when this happens, you send a URL, or a place. You need a place where you will be pulling the all the health records. So we call it as a data push URL. So you send the data push URL to the HIPs via gateway. You still have no idea which are the health facilities where the health records are residing. And then what happens is that these HIPs, they directly send the health data to your payers. I think this explanation covers the query which you were asking.
It just raises a new one. So all the records that will be furnished to us after everything is done, the customer consent and everything is done, will we be getting image files, or will we be, how will the data be sent to us?
No, you will be getting the file in FIRE format. You will have to, and that too in an encrypted form. That is the reason why you will be implementing only M1 and M3. So you will have to decrypt that health information or the health record which you will receive in the particular format, and then of course after decrypting you can make use of it. And you can just view it. It would be only for your viewing purpose. You cannot save those health records because you do not have the consent for saving the health records.
So we will need to open a viewer which will allow us to
Yes,
view the
yes,
images which are
because
downloaded in encrypted format.
yes, not
Okay.
downloaded. You
And
cannot download that.
yeah,
You
I'm
sign an
sorry.
undertaking,
Yeah,
so you
I
cannot
understood.
download that because you're not the
Yeah.
owner for that data.
So how long would they remain with us on, a remote server,
That
whatever
will
it is?
totally depends on the patient. When the patient gives consent, the
Hmm.
duration for which the consent is given, the duration or the expiry for the shared health records, everything is there in the consent. So it totally depends on the consent which is given to you by the patient.
I think
Okay.
it will be more clear to you if you go to our sandbox page where there is HIU initiated sorry HIU building HIU. So I'll be sharing the link. Please go through the document. It is beautifully mentioned over there that about the data and how it will be stored and everything, like the M3 part, which you are discussing currently. So once you will read this document, I think things will be clear. I've just shared this thing in the chat.
Hey,
Yeah,
Shabanam, I
thanks.
appreciate the input from Meenakshi and you both. See, conceptually, I reiterate, conceptually we are clear. A lot of things are clear. But what's happening, no? Usually, if there is a kind of a POC or something, we are able to relate visually much better. Because what's happening right now is, see, for instance, in our cases, a lot of times from the payer side, there are a lot of approvals and all that come in space, which is why I ask for the time constraint. If we cannot download the images, how long are they visible? Can we refer it from one underwriting to another underwriting doctor, etc., etc.? Those dynamics are there, which is why we wanted to kind of see how what is the look and feel, how it actually appears in a flow. That's the only thing. But thank you for input.
For the benefit, thanks, Dr. Shamnan. For the benefit of all other integrators. Just wanted to share in ABDM. The ABDM has a YouTube channel. Okay, so in that we have animated some of the flows. So there are 11 or 12 sections or 12 videos, labeled as module 1, module 2, module 3. So every step has been explained. So just go through that, Pushkraj, and I'm not sure. I'm not remembering right now, but I'm not sure if that this pair particular thing has been considered or not. But just go through that. In case if you have any queries, you can always write to us at integration.support. I think we can take up next query, Shabnam.
Yeah, sure. I have also shared the link for the webinars. For M1, you can please visit webinar 7 and webinar 9. I have shared the link for the webinar. Yes. Any more questions anybody has? We can take it now. Otherwise, we can move ahead with M3.
And there is one question about, I think, home care application. So, sir, it depends on your use case. What you want to implement in your
Sachin,
application.
either of you have to mute. Either you mute or Shabnam mutes because it is echoing, right? Yeah, go ahead, Sachin.
Now it's clear, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it depends on your use case, what you have to, what you want to build. But as per our recommendation, M1 part is mandatory for all because it's a ABA creation, and without ABA, you cannot like do anything in ABDM ecosystem. So M1 part is mandatory, and rest depends on your use case.
Yeah, you can always share your business segment, like what kind of business you are into. Is it into healthcare or is it into other industries? So it depends upon that. If you can give us a idea about what business you are catering to.
So should we move to M1 APIs?
Yeah, please. In case anybody
Okay,
has
and
queries, please put it on the chat, or else we can take it up again after Sachin goes through M1. It's a pretty easy
so,
flow. Yeah,
ma'am,
Sachin, please.
should I go to the postman collection
Yes, please.
or
Yes, please.
through PPT?
First through PPT, and if they want, we can also walk them through postman collection. I'm not sure whether the participants here they are technical or not. So let us not go. Yes, we have a
Okay.
question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Like I have tested all the test API, but I need to move it to the production. So what is the procedure for that? Like I have read somewhere like we need to go for the QC and SC certification with the third parties vendor.
Yeah, could I have your entity name, please?
Ankit Kothari from Rouge Healthcare.
Can you just type in the chat?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Shabnam, I think you have already gone through in the last slide, so you can just explain quickly, or else Ankit, you can write on integration.support. Do mention your client ID. So I think that will help you go through that. And also, I think Shabnam has pasted one link, exit entry process. In that, there is section D, right? So please follow section D. So you will have to go for, get your application. You have to undergo functional testing, and then you'll have to also go under security audit through the empaneled agency, and then reach out to us.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
All right. So, ma'am, most of the participants wants the postman collection. So I will be doing that.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. For M1, we have uh, two fundamental processes where first is ABA creation and the second is ABA verification. So for ABA creation, these are the set of APIs I will be going through one by one. So the first API is the session API, where you will put your session client ID and client secret, and one session token will be generated. So I will request you all, if someone is having queries now, then after this whole process, I will go through them. Okay. So after the generating the session token, the first API is request OTP. Here you have to paste your Aadhaar, and the scope will be Aadhaar and AVA enroll, and OTP system will be Aadhaar. Here you will give your Aadhaar, and then the next API you will one OTP will come on your Aadhaar, and we will be giving the OTP. So for Aadhaar, we have to give it in encrypted form. So for encryption, we have APIs. Let me show you. So this is the API which will give you the public key for encryption. So let me generate the public key, and I will copy this public key, and you can encrypt your Aadhaar using any RSA encryption website. So, and here I am using this devglen.com. So here you have to select the cipher type as with SHA, and here I have pasted the Aadhaar. I will encrypt it and copy. In authorization, I will paste the access token which I have generated. It's a bearer token, and in headers we have request ID and timestamp. Timestamp will be ISO timestamp, and request ID will be a randomly generated UUID. So I will hit this API, and here the in response, first thing is transaction ID. This transaction ID I will use in the next API to make the sequence. And the one OTP I will receive on my Aadhaar linked mobile number.
Sorry for the interruption, Sachin. I just want to let everybody know that Sachin is presenting the V3 APIs for M1 integration. Previously, we had M1 and M2 version. Sorry, V1 and V2 version for M1, M2, and M3 integration. Now we are on with V3 APIs, and uh, we request everyone that you can also use V3 APIs if like you have not started with the integration process. Yeah, you can start with it.
Sachin, you're on mute.
Hmm. Now I have received the OTP on my Aadhaar linked mobile number, and I will encrypt it. So in this second API, it's enroll slash by Aadhaar. Here the first auth methods will be OTP, and in OTP I will paste the transaction ID which I have got from the previous request, and the OTP value will be the encrypted OTP. In last part we have consent, code, Aadhaar enrollment. This part will remain same uh, every time. And in OTP we have timestamp, and this timestamp is the current ISO timestamp. But for this timestamp, I will show you the timestamp format. This is the format. In this format, you have to pass it. I am hitting this API. So I haven't selected the 022. Just give me 1 second. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Sachin, you're
Yes.
audible.
Yep.
Yes. So in V3 page, I am getting one error message. I don't know it's a server issue, what kind of issue. Let me ask someone. Hello. I think there is some issue. We have to check it. So meanwhile, to save some time, I will go through the APIs and give their functionalities. So the first API is for generating the Aadhaar OTP, and in the second API, you will be giving the OTP and the mobile number. If this mobile number is same as your Aadhaar mobile number, then you will, on this step only, you will get your ABHA number generated. And if this mobile is not your Aadhaar link number, then you can link your Aadhaar number using our number using these APIs. The first API is request slash OTP. In this API, you will give the mobile encrypted mobile number, and in second API, you will be giving the OTP, which you will receive on your number. After that, if you want to link your email ID, you can link email ID in the same way. Just the login ID will be the encrypted email ID, and in OTP, you will be giving the OTP received on your email ID. And transaction ID in all the APIs will be the transaction ID of the previous API. Then after creating your ABA number, the next step is creating your ABA address. So using this first API, enroll slash suggestions, this API will give you some suggestions like when you create a new email ID, Google gives you some suggestions that these email ID you can select. The same way, ABDM system will suggest you some ABA addresses, and someone is asking that if how do we ensure the uniqueness of the ABA address? So if you paste the already existing ABA address, then you will be not able to create it. It will show you the error that this ABA address is already existed. Kindly select the next one. So after the suggestions, using this API, you will be able to create your user's choice ABA address. So here in the API, there is transaction ID and ABA address. So using this API, the M1 ABA creation flow is completed. So to summarize, the first API is to create your ABA number, and after creating your ABA number, you can update your mobile number, email address, and create your ABA address. So if someone is having any queries in this flow, you can ask that.
Sachin, can you go back to that list, please?
Okay.
Thanks so much. So, access part is given. You need that for authentication. After that, you have request OTP. Okay, this is I'm talking about the
Yes.
creation, right? So I have initiated
Yes.
a OTP. I've got the OTP. I've got the OTP from the customer, and I'm pushing that.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a other verification that I'm posting. Okay, now
Huh?
at which stage am I actually going for the actual creation, or is it created by default uh, in the registry?
uh, I will tell you the in the first API
Hmm.
in V3 APIs we have removed optimized the APIs, and we have removed the number of APIs also. So the in the first API you will request the OTP, right?
Hmm.
And in the second API user
Hmm.
will give you one mobile number and the OTP. If the mobile number is same or
Hmm.
different, in any case, or in this step only, the ABA number will be created.
As a
Only
response.
one as a response, correct. You will be
Okay.
getting
And
your
if I want
ABA
to
number.
recall that same status, I will be able to call it.
Yes, if you recall the same APIs again, then it will show you the ABA number is already existed, and this
Hmm.
is not a new ABA, and you will get the token and the all the KYC detail of the person.
Okay.
Is that clear? And suppose patient or the user is not giving the Aadhaar link mobile number, then in KYC details, you will find your mobile number as null. So you can add the mobile number using these APIs. So as the implementation, you have to make it that way. If the response of this API is coming null, then you mandatorily have to call the next API so that you can add the mobile number. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is clear. Thank you.
All
Sachin,
right.
I have a question here. The
Yes.
way I understand the purpose of ABBA address is to sort of create a name or an identification which is simpler to remember rather than a 14-digit number. Is that right?
There are multiple use cases. I will tell you. Suppose that if you have only one number, right? I will give you the example of the UPI. If you only have one number, and in future we have multiple players, like today you will only get at that ABDM, but in future multiple players will come, right? So you have to create multiple IDs. For example, for phone pay I am creating a different UPI ID, and for Google Pay I am creating a different UPI ID,
Hmm.
right? But we can account is the same, but
Correct.
the transaction in one case Google is doing, and in the second case phone pay is doing. So
Right.
this
No,
ABA address is same as the your UPI ID.
I have understood the purpose of ABBA address. Now, the other question is that if I have
Hmm.
multiple members in the family using the same, let's say, email ID or a mobile number,
Okay.
will I be able to refer to because it will throw up an error that this is already
No,
used.
no, it will. I will tell you.
Yeah.
If you want to create ABA number, then only way of creation is Aadhaar.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you cannot create multiple ABA numbers. Use, and you can link multiple mobile, sorry, one mobile number with multiple ABA, right? So
Sachin,
this
sorry, I'm
can
interrupting
happen.
you because of that
Yes.
input. Because there are
Huh.
Aadhars where mobile numbers are not registered. So we have
Mm-hmm.
Aadhars with mobile registered mobile numbers and Aadhaar without registered mobile numbers. So in short, if an Aadhaar does not have a registered mobile number in UIDAI, then we would
Yes.
not be able to proceed with this. Is that what you're saying?
We can technically proceed with this because we have different methods of authentication with Aadhaar.
No, no, I'm
We can
talking
have
only on the basis of
biometrics.
mobile OTP. I understand biometrics.
Then it's not possible, right? If
So
mobile
that
number
was
is not
one part.
registered.
That was one part.
Huh.
Sorry, Dr. Saxena, I'm just extending this point.
Okay.
So Sachin, just to add on this, the original question was regarding unique constraint, which is what I also wanted to check. So indirectly, what we are saying is, okay, if there is one particular mobile number, okay, then
Mm-hmm.
that mobile number, if it has been vetted through Aadhaar, let's assume there is a Aadhaar mobile based map with the Aadhaar, and that verification has happened and an ABHA has been created. I would not
Mm-hmm.
ideally be able to create an ABHA with the same mobile number, right? Even if I'm going through biometric or any other channel. Let's say it's a child ABHA where it's a
No, you
minor.
can create it using
So it'll
one
allow me
mobile
to
number.
update. Huh.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
Mobile
through
number you
another
can
channel, it
have.
will allow me. Is that
Uh,
what that's what you're saying, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Two
Thank you.
different
Thank you.
ABA numbers can have a same mobile number.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mobile number is not the consent. Here to the consent is Aadhaar.
Hmm.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you, Sachin.
Is it clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
And the same thing goes with ABA address too. If KYC part is in ABA address, KYC part is maintained by ABA number. That is always unique for every patient. But you can have multiple ABA addresses. So the mobile number can have multiple ABA addresses.
Hmm.
At the time of you login, when you try to log in using mobile, first it will show you all the ABA address that are available. Then you select a particular ABA address, and then you will be able to log in.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey Sachin, before we go, I just have a quick question. So
Yes.
I looked at V1 APIs. There it was little complex with the number of APIs we make. Looks like
Yes. Yes.
V3 has improved a lot, and then the number of calls are also optimized.
Yes.
Is there any reference document where we can see this flow of API calls, which you just tried to demonstrate?
Yes, first of all, we will be sharing you the this Postman collection, and in Postman collection you can go through the APIs and the payload. And other than Postman collection, I think we have the document, but it's in I think we just need some officers' approvals. And in I think few days, that document will be uploaded on our website.
Sure, Sachin. Thank you. That helps. We'll be waiting for the document as well.
Hans. And
Such
if you want to go to the functionality, functionality documents we already have. The functionality is not changing here. Just the way of implementation is changing. So someone is new, then you can go with the old documentation also to know the system and architecture and all the things.
Sure, Sachin.
yeah, Sachin, I just wanted to ask you one thing. This is regarding how when we are planning to go live and what is the exact scope that we are planning to go live with. So could you throw more
Mhm.
light on that? Because somewhere I feel there's a disconnect where we don't have that exact clarity. So can you share your thoughts on that, please?
But thoughts, it depends on what implementation you are doing. Like if you want to
As a
do
payer,
M1
I'm speaking as a payer.
as a pair, that means I think you are implementing M1 and M3, right?
Yes.
So Meenakshi ma'am will be, ma'am, are you there? So you are asking about time, right? How much time it usually takes?
No. We are asking that is there, I believe there is an expectation to go live by 1st of
Uh,
August, and somewhere we see that feasibility challenge. So we just wanted to know
uh,
if we have a more realistic timeline or we are compressed to deliver within
yes,
that timeline
I
itself.
will. I will tell you the realistic timeline. If you want to do M1, then you can do the M1 easily. I think in 1 week. If your technical team is well trained and you have all the conceptual clarities. First I think the first thing is you have to make your concepts clear. And if your concepts are clear about the ABDM ecosystem, then I think M1 can be done in 1 week or say 2 week, and M3 maybe 3 4 week realistically.
So M1 coming in 1 week. See, so my primary question at M1 was, sorry Sachin, I'm taking your
Mhm.
time. My our primary
Yes.
concern at M1 was that as a payer, okay, usually the client interacts with, though it's our client, they interact with the
Mhm.
provider, okay, and for any form of verification, whether it is Aadhaar-based OTP or biometric, the client is not usually with us real time to execute the verification for M1. So building the service is fine. I mean, the technical expertise is there with us very
Ah,
much, but
okay.
the redundancy of the requirement or the functionality is the actually question that I wanted to discuss.
Well, I think it depends on your. You are talking about production, like after going to the production. I was. I'm not
Yes,
getting.
yes. Yeah, so we can go to production. We have the expertise, technical expertise with us.
Suppose that in
Yeah.
2 months you have developed your software,
Hmm.
and now you are in production. Now, what is your question? Can you?
See, my point is not the timeline
Hmm.
here right now. I'm just highlighting on
Okay.
the M1 consumption. The M1 consumption, which basically focuses or emphasizes on the creation, has two approaches. One is the
Hmm.
mobile Aadhaar-based mobile approach. The second is a biometric approach. Correct?
Yes.
What I'm saying is both approaches are fine. Let's assume for 1 second that
Hmm.
we built those approaches. What I'm actually talking about is as a payer, as an insurance company, okay, our client usually is in real time available with the hospital which is a provider. So for us to
Hmm.
initiate ABHA, the client has to visit one of our branches real time and initiate the ABHA process, which usually does not happen.
Okay. I got it. I got it. So, in your case, if the patient already gone through the hospital system And suppose that hospital is unable with ABDM ecosystem, then you don't have to create the patient, right? You just have to validate it, and you can validate the patient using online using OTP.
So again for
Right. So,
validation, now I shift my question to validation. At validation, again, I have the same two approaches, or do I have any other approach?
no, if the mobile number is not linked to mobile Aadhaar, then patient can, as I have shown you in the patient can give additional mobile number.
No, no, what I'm saying is if there
Huh.
is a mobile, let's say, you see, understand from my point of view, I want to verify I want to consume the verification, okay, process to
Okay.
request for the documents, okay, through medical history. So now when I'm doing the verification, I require uh, the mobile process, let us assume. And now the mobile approach requires an OTP similar to creation, correct? Again, here my
Correct.
problem is that the client has to be present at my branch for that thing to happen, which also does not happen.
No, it's not necessary, right? Suppose that someone on your system, someone is applying for the claim online, then they can paste their OTP by themselves, or if there is a dependency between regarding the OTP, then I'm not getting it. Like, how can it happen? It depends on your business. I got your point, कि that patient is not with you. That's your issue,
Yeah,
right?
because our of claims processing unit is somewhere, it's a back office, and the client is actually
Then
making a
maybe you
cashless
have to,
reimbursement. Yeah,
maybe you have to ask them the OTP. That's the only way. I'm not sure,
that is
like,
dangerous now. Asking OTP is out of question, but
yes.
I think you got the
So,
problem statement.
or else,
Yeah.
or else you have to make your system that way that some type of interface is there with the patient, and they can put their OTP there.
Not sure if IID or anyone would take that as a pass, but fine. I think you got the
Someone,
constraint.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, someone can log in there, and I don't know which type of application you are making. So I got your point, but you have to see like what can be done.
Okay, Sachin. Thank you so much.
All right, then I think we have already exceeded the time limit. So if you guys have more queries, then you can reach out to us on integration.support. Shubnam, over to you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for taking out time and joining this session. Any kind of queries and help, please reach out to us at integration.support, the rate nha.gov.in. You can also help other integrators over Dev Forum. We have Dev Forum. You can share your knowledge. You can also, there are many integrators who are live. They can also help you over there. And you can always go to our
Can I ask
website.
one question? Hello,
Yes.
can I ask one question,
Yeah,
please?
sure.
So I have a confusion here that suppose I have added three or four dependent to my account, and each have unique AVA address. So here I'm going to link AVA number. In that case, suppose my name is Sonu Kumar, and another person name is Arjun Singh. And when I'm linking the AVA number, suppose my through the my number, then Arjun Singh name is also changing, and it's becoming Sonu Kumar. Why? Is it
No,
right
sir,
or?
it's not the, it's not that way. Let me explain.
Mhm.
So the record will be linked to the ABA address, and you can create multiple ABA addresses. Suppose that you have two members in your family, then you can create a different ABA address for both of them, and you can link the record to the individual person, and that is the recommended way also.
Can you repeat it again?
Suppose that you have two family members, right, and you have only one mobile number, so
Yeah.
you can create their ABA number and their ABA addresses with the same mobile number, and record can be linked to the different ABA addresses.
Okay, so you are saying mobile number will be same, but Aadhaar number
हाँ,
and Aadhaar address will be different.
correct, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Linkage.
Yeah, so in one Aadhaar address, you can in one Aadhaar number, you can link multiple Aadhaar addresses. So here you can also segregate your health records according to your own priorities or according to your own comfort zone. Like, if you are taking consultation for neuro, nephro, or gynae, different departments. So you can also create different Aadhaar addresses and segregate your reports in different Aadhaar accounts so that it eases you know that in which address what department of health records are being shared. I hope it is clear now.
You
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, sure. We are wrapping this session for now. As already mentioned, you can please mail us at integration.support@nha.gov.in. Thank you so much.
And
Okay.
uh, most of the people are asking postman collection. So you can ask the postman collection on indication.support. There we can reply with. Is that clear?
Thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you so much, Meenakshi ma'am, for taking our time. And thank you everyone for the time. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.